Welcome, everybody, to Casting for Two, the podcast with your host, Chris. I am that guy who I just said I was. Welcome, everybody, to episode number 171. New year, new episode of the new year. And I'm happy for my guest today. I'm starting off the new year on a good foot and the rest of the year. I got so many great guests lined up, and I'm excited for all you guys to listen. And I'm excited to be back with a new episode. It feels weird when I take a week off. I don't like it. And you know what? Yeah, I don't know where I was going with that. You know what? The point is I missed you all, and I hope you all had a wonderful holiday season. I know it's not over yet because there's Easter and Arbor Day, the big one. Everyone caps out for those deals on Arbor Day. But as always, if you'd like to keep in touch with me, you can do that on my Twitter and Instagram. Both are at castingfor2, or you can send me an email, castingfor2@gmail.com. If you wanted to leave me some feedback on the iTunes, the Google Play Music, the Stitcher, or the website, you're more than welcome to. I'd appreciate it. But you know what? I think I should get into my guest for today. My guest is a wonderful actor, Mr. Reece Thompson. I've had a real pleasure watching this actor for years now, and just how diverse roles he does, and I was geeking out. If you talk to Megan of Tipsy Writer, I squealed like a girl when he emailed me back and said he wanted to do the show. So I'm going to stop talking because we got to get into this episode. All right. So sit back, relax, and Chris, cue the music, please. Hello.
Hello.
Hey, Reece, how are you doing?
Good. How are you doing?
I am doing well. Computer problems just happened, but it's okay.
Isn't that the way?
Yeah, if I didn't have multiple computers in my room, I'd be freaking out, but it's all good.
Oh, okay.
I'm one of those crazy people that happens to have like 4 computers in one room.
Well, it's your livelihood, right? I guess you probably need them.
Yeah, I always think about, if I had to give up technology cold, I'd enjoy the simple life of living in the woods and stuff like that. But if I had to go back in time, I'd want to go back to no computers at all, just cold turkey, give it all up.
Right. Well, my parents' cat actually spilled red wine all over my laptop and totally ruined my laptop.
Okay.
But and it's been great.
Yeah.
It's been fantastic.
There we go.
I have my cell phone and I have my Apple TV, so I can kind of like just get by with that. And then if I need to write stuff, or I just use a pen and paper now.
Ooh.
Or I go to the library if I need to print something off.
Yeah, okay, yeah. I do find that a lot of people don't have printers in general anymore.
Yeah, well, because ink's so expensive, so it kind of It doesn't really. It makes sense to just kind of go to the library and pay a couple bucks for when you need it.
Yeah. There you go. And this whole pen and paper thing, what is that?
Oh man, it's so nice. So nice.
No, I agree. Whenever I have to take notes for the podcast, when I put them online, I have my book of show notes
that I still write in, and I write them down, and then I type in the computer, and it didn't hit me until a couple weeks ago that, I should probably just put it in the computer first because I'm writing it down, and then I have to input it in the computer. Why don't I just input it to the computer to save time? And of course, I still don't do it. I still write it down.
Yeah, there's something about writing by hand. I don't know. I also like I recently started writing in cursive as well because it just felt more flowy, and it felt like, you know, when you draw like a hand or something like that.
Yeah.
And like, oh, that looks like crap. And you can look at it and you can see what looks like crap about it, you know, and you can kind of be like, oh, I need to fix the thumb. I don't know how, but I need to fix it. And the only way you can really fix it is by practicing it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I feel that way with handwriting. It's like with printing, I don't really care, you know?
Right.
But
yeah.
with handwriting, I you know, if I screw up on like my T, or like, you know, it looks like a different letter, I'm like, oh man, I need to fix that.
Right. It's like whenever I have to sign a document, it's just, okay, I need to mentally prepare myself because I don't want to mess this up.
Right. Yeah. My signature always looks different. So, but again, it's the same thing. Yeah. You're like, oh man, that doesn't look anything like me.
Right. Yeah, exactly. My dad, you know, he's an older person. So he...
That would be weird if he was the same age.
Yeah, or if I was older. It's like, you know, well, whatever. It's kooky
My
down
dad,
here.
he's younger than me.
Well, but he has the most perfect handwriting I've ever seen. And he knows calligraphy. He has fountain pens. And it's just, you know, you put his handwriting next to mine, and it's like, oh my gosh. I mean,
right.
It's I'm a disgrace to this family with my handwriting.
Yeah, both my parents have always been like, they always wrote in handwriting or cursive or whatever. And they don't even teach that in schools anymore.
No, and it's amazing.
Yeah, and it really helps. And actually, I met a waitress who her daughter, I believe it was daughter or son, I think it was a daughter, was dyslexic, and she was having a really hard time in school. And then her mom, the waitress that we met, taught her handwriting, and that like really improved her ability to read and write, because she started looking at the word as a whole and not as like individual letters that can be, you know, moved and placed in other, you know, discombobulated and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So that actually really helped her.
No, I can see that, just because, I mean, cursive is bringing the letters together as a whole. Okay. Yeah. So even in Canada, they stopped teaching cursive.
Yeah.
Oh wow.
They did.
Okay. I didn't want to out you as a Canadian, but I just felt like people already know.
I hope they know.
No, because I'm very pro Canada. I went up to film school in Canada.
Oh, no way.
Yeah, in Victoria.
Oh, sweet.
So I have much appreciation for Canada.
Yeah, I've spent a lot of time there. My sister lives there now, actually.
Oh, okay, nice.
Yeah, my best friend growing up lived there, who's also an actor, and his name's Calum Worthy. He was on a Disney show called Austin and Ally up until recently. And he's constantly working. He lives in LA now.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
And you're still up in Vancouver, the Vancouver area?
Yeah, I lived in LA for 3 years, and then moved back here about 5 years ago. And I'd move back there again. I just really haven't had a reason to.
Right.
So just been hanging out here. But a lot of my friends here actually have been going to New York to train. So I'm thinking about maybe going there next. Because I actually wanted to move to New York before I moved to LA. But I figured it wasn't, timing wise, it made more sense to move to LA, where my career was at that time.
Right.
And I had an agent there and stuff like that. So that was like, it just made sense. Made
Yeah.
sense at that time. But now I think New York would make more sense because my agent now has an office in Toronto and New York as well. So it would make sense to go there and also to become a better actor as well.
Yeah, there you go. Yeah, it's I mean, acting is probably taking in everything about the world, right? And using it.
Yeah, it is. It just depends on who you are and the way you apply it, right? I think some people are like method actors. Like I think that the term method acting has been thrown around a lot,
Right.
Especially in recent years, and there's been a lot of confusion about what method acting actually is. But what I believe method acting is, which I people think that Marlon Brando was like the beginning of method acting, but he's not really technically a method actor because he could go outside of what he is as a person.
Right.
He could do accents and he could do voices and he could do, all these different things. Whereas people like Robert De Niro and Dustin Hoffman and Christopher Walken, that to me is more, and Ryan Gosling as well. Those guys are much more method actors. They draw upon like what their own experiences are, and don't really go outside of that. And which is, that's a style. And that works very well, right? It's fantastic, and I just named a lot of fantastic actors who do that. So there's no real wrong way of doing it,
right?
But then there's other people like, Johnny Depp, I guess, would be the complete like opposite side of that, where he can like base his character off of a Barbie doll,
right?
Or, like a cartoon character or something, which is also amazing and fun to watch. Right?
I saw this leaf falling down, and I decided to play that character. It's like, what?
Yeah, but that can work. It just depends on the person and what works for you, right?
Right, exactly. Well, I mean, one of the things I'd like to know about you is when you first caught the acting bug.
Right. Well, I was probably fell somewhere in between that spectrum that we just talked about, where I imitated everything that I saw, and my parents actually had to screen movies for me when I was a kid because they knew that if I saw something, they were going to have to deal with that character for the next while.
Oh,
yeah, so there was a period where I had seen where I was going to my daycare every week and watching Dennis the Menace.
Oh, okay, yeah.
And they had no idea.
Yeah.
And so I was just this terror.
Right.
And they didn't know what was going on. They were like, "What's wrong with this kid?"
And you screaming, "Mr. Wilson? We don't know."
I was like dragging my feet into, because the thing was, I think I was such a performer that I wanted to like convince them that I was that person.
Right.
So I would like drag my feet when my mom was taking me into daycare, and the daycare worker was like, "I have no idea what it is, because once he comes inside the door, he's totally fine."
Right.
and I would do stuff like brush my teeth and let the foam all drip down my face, because that's what he did in the movie, and
yeah,
just stuff like that, like just annoying.
That's hilarious though. And I'm now having visions of that movie.
It's a great movie.
It is Christopher Lloyd.
Fantastic movie. Yeah.
Although
kid too. That kid was fantastic. Yeah, I think he quit pretty soon after that. I think he was in like one other movie, and then he just was like, "Nah, I'm over it."
Yeah. Well,
which is probably the most Dennis the Menace thing you could do.
Right. Well, you started acting at a young age, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, so there was that. That was like when I was much younger, and then my parents are both teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So summertime they had off, so they started doing background work, like extra work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, just to make some extra cash.
Yeah.
And they just thought it would be a good idea to get me and my brother and sister involved. And then And then that's, I think, because I was a big pretender. And that's how I think about acting. I just think about it as, like I referenced drawing and writing and stuff like that. I think all art forms are kind of similar. We all know how to do these things when we're a kid. They all come really naturally to us. Drawing a picture, there's no like, oh, I don't know how to draw. Like you ask somebody now, like if you ask your friend that you're just sitting, at a cafe with, be like, hey, draw me a picture of that person over there. And they'd be like, I can't do that. It's like, well, you can.
Right.
It's probably not going to look like him because you're not like a trained artist, but, you could do it.
Right.
The kids will have no problem with that. They'll just do it, right? They'll pick up the crayon and they'll go for it. Even like a trained artist would be like, I don't have the right materials. But, and that's what I think about how acting is. I just think of it as very detailed pretending. As kids, we pretend so easily, and that's why they say kids make the best actors, because it's just easy for us.
Right.
Oh, can you cry in this? Yeah, of course. Let's do it. So as you get older, at least for me, what I've found is it's just about finding the details in it, like finding why, you have to go deeper with it, because your mind is more developed, and so you have all these other thoughts competing with your emotions and stuff like that. But yeah, that's how I define it. Just very detailed pretending.
Gotcha. Nice. And then so, like you said, it must be hard just because you're getting older. You are losing your imagination-ness, which is a word that I just made up.
Using your imagination very well, by the way.
Thank you very much. When do you start kind of saying, you know what, this is something that I can do for a living?
I realized that when I was 10.
Okay.
And that was because I started doing background work then.
Right.
And then I was like, oh, that game that I play in my backyard every day, I could get paid to do that.
Yeah.
So that was really eye-opening for me. And then I was like, I want to do that. I want to do it. And my parents did not want me to do it.
Right.
They were not stage parents by any means. They were like, no, this is just like an extra.
Right.
In Vancouver, we have a pretty big film industry here, right? Mm-hmm. So to them, it was just like, it just was logical to do that. And so, but then I was like, no, I want to do this. I want to do this. And then I had to, I forced my mom to quit her job and homeschool me and drive me to auditions and stuff like that. So, and that was when I was 12. So that's when I actually started acting. Okay. And I think because of my experience from doing the extra work, I excelled really quickly. Like I was really comfortable in acting classes because I've been waiting to deliver lines for so long, Mm-hmm. So then when I finally got one, I was just like so eager, and I knew what to do. I'd seen so many people on set, the good and the bad, right? What to do and what not to do. So I took one acting class that lasted about a week, and then they got me an agent from there, and then I was with that agent for 15 years. We just parted ways recently, which was sad, but it was time,
Yeah.
And yeah, that's pretty much it.
No, I definitely know what you mean by being eager to say a line. I remember my sister was in the high school plays, and she was, the go-to person. And they were doing a Christmas Carol. And so they needed background people, and being the brother, I got, selected. And I remember I was just going to be in the background, and then I got bumped up to say a line, which I was super excited. And unfortunately, the play never happened. But the line is still ingrained in my head that I hope one day I can say it in something.
Well, right now is a great opportunity.
Right? I mean, the line is, you couldn't pry a penny from his pocket even if you used a crowbar. That's it.
That's a great line.
And I'm surprised I didn't, have trouble saying it. But again, it's ingrained in my head.
Yeah.
But so when let me just say do a little bit of background. When I first saw you, it was in I'm blanking on the title. The HBO movie Rocket Science.
Oh, yeah.
Oh my gosh, you were phenomenal in that movie.
Oh, thanks.
And then because I was going through a Jonah Hill phase, right?
Right,
And
as we all were.
Absolutely. And Netflix,
Still are.
before Netflix was even streaming, they were a mail to disc, service.
Oh, yeah. I remember that. I love that. They don't have that here in Canada.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah, they're
So,
all streaming for you guys. Yeah.
yeah.
But I would watch the max was 4 discs, and I would watch 8 movies a week because
Wow.
I timed it to where if I watched them immediately when I got them and sent them out the next day, then it'd take 2 days to get the discs back.
And you're getting probably $100 value a week or something like that.
Oh yeah, it was crazy.
Yeah.
It's to the point. It was to the point where I had to stop for a couple months just so that the movies could collect up, and then I could just go at it again. But I was going through Jonah Hill movies, and Rocket Science popped up. I was like, I don't know what this is. Let's check it out. Why not? It's Netflix. Who cares? And then I get it, and I'm just okay. I'm watching, and then it's a story about your character and how he has a bit of a stutter, and he wants to join the debate team. And I was just, oh my gosh, this is great. And there's so many stars in it that were not as well known as they are today. But I mean, it's just a great movie all around, and I urge everybody to go check it out for sure.
Yeah, me too, obviously.
But what was that? Was that one of your first big roles?
Yeah, that was, I've been here in Vancouver, and I've been, and Canada too. I did a series in Toronto when I was about 14, 15. And yeah, I'd just been working here a bunch and kind of building up a resume. And then I put that on tape, and then I got 2 pages of notes from the director to do another tape. So did that, sent that in, and then they were like, all right, we want to fly you to Baltimore. I'm like, okay. So, and me and my mom were just like, this is crazy. So we get on the plane, we go to Baltimore, and then it was me and 2 other guys, I think. And we read, and then, but I have to admit, I probably had a bit of a leg up on the competition just because my parents are teachers, but they also work with kids who have special needs.
Oh, okay.
So my mom, totally coached me through that stutter in the beginning. It ended up evolving because there's different types of stutters, and it wasn't the type that the director wanted. So I ended up working with a speech pathologist after booking the role and developing it to what it became. Because some people, it's almost like a mentality thing, but some people who stutter will just push through. Yeah. And they'll just keep blocking on the word. And that would have, my character did that a couple times. But usually people with stutters know they're going to block on a word, and so they'll try and find a way around it. And usually people who have stutters have really big vocabularies because of that. They're always finding alternate versions of the word that they actually want to say to get their point across. So that's what we did. But it was all written in the script. Surprisingly, if you look at the script, my dialogue is big, but I'm not really saying that much. There's a lot of dots and dashes and I would go through the script, and anytime there was a dot, there's 3 usually, I would come up with the word that I wanted to say, and then go through a list of other words that I couldn't say before I landed on the one that was actually in the script. And so that's kind of how we did that.
Okay, nice.
Yeah.
Nice. And so once you do that movie, I mean, you do. I don't want to go through your whole career, but I mean, Ceremony was just phenomenal.
Oh, thanks.
And you are kind of in that, in my opinion anyway, in kind of a group of actors, I would say, that are probably going to, kind of mold my generation, at least, because we're roughly the same age. But yeah, I mean, I put you in the same league as like even Andrew Garfield, who I think is
Oh, wow.
phenomenal.
Thanks. Thank
But
you. That's a huge compliment.
oh yeah, no, it's yeah, all these young actors that I just see that I'm just like, oh my god, this is when we're gonna get older together, and you guys are gonna still continue making great movies, and I can't wait to see what more you guys got have to do. So
Yeah, me
I
too. No, it's true, man. I
yeah,
was, I've been saying to my girlfriend for the past little while, I'm like, I'm so excited right now because I'm actually finally at the age where I'm going to be able to do what I wanted as an actor.
right,
Because as a young man, you're always playing. I mean, I've been extremely lucky in that a lot of the characters that I've been able to play are not just students.
right,
They're not just a guy at a high school.
right,
They have other things going on. But that's also what they are. And one of the main reasons I wanted to become an actor was because I could do any job,
right,
right? So now I'm actually at the age, I'm 28 now, I'm going into my 30s where every job, every audition that I have, the character is a different job,
right.
which is like really exciting to me. And that's fun. Like it really helps you getting into character when you actually take on the habits that person takes on.
Right.
So
Right. No, it makes sense because I mean, like I said, seeing this little kid in rocket science, and then seeing you in the Perks of Being a Wallflower, all with your popped collar and 5 o'clock shadow, I was like, man, this is the same kid. He's totally different now. Um, and but I gotta ask you something.
Mhm.
I love bad audition stories, and I feel like you
oh,
might have one or two.
oh yeah, for sure.
Do you have
I had
yeah? Do you have a favorite?
I have this one that's really bad.
Okay.
Um, and it was because I was young. My mom had coached me. Like my mom really taught me how to act.
hmm
You know, and she didn't really know what she was doing either, but she knew what was real and what wasn't.
Right.
And so yeah, that's she would just be like, that doesn't work, and do this, like that's something that's real, and so we would work on it that way. And then I got to a certain age where I was like, okay, I have to figure out how to do this on my own now because I'm going to fly the nest soon.
Right.
It's probably like 16, 17. So probably like it was like after rocket science. And because rocket science was a really big turning point for me,
hmm
because it was the first time I did a project like that, where it felt like we were creating art.
Right.
Like before that, I was just guest starring on whatever show would have me, you know?
hmm
And so that was the first time where it felt like, okay, we're making art here. And I was like, wow, this is what acting could be. I had no idea. And so I was like, I didn't know that something could affect me that much.
Right.
And then just the thought of it affecting other people too was really exciting. And that really like changed who I was as an actor.
Uh-huh.
But it also was like solidifying to me that, okay, I can do this, because I'd never had a role that challenging before either.
Right.
So to be able to step into that and then and be able to pull it off to the best of my ability, it was really like assuring for me. And so then once that was over, I was like, all right, I can do this. I can do this. I need to figure out how to do this on my own, which I've still been trying to figure out over the past couple of years. And we'll talk about that later. But anyway, so this was like right after that. And I had an audition in LA. I think it was one of my first times in LA, like on my own.
Yeah.
Maybe. It was like probably 18, I guess.
Yeah. Okay.
And I was auditioning for this movie. And I had a drunk scene,
Okay.
and I was practicing it by myself, and I was like, I found out that if I breathe really heavy, I would get like a head rush, and it made me
Oh.
feel kind of drunk. And so I did that in the room, and it was awful. So awful. And the director was like, yeah, do it again, but don't breathe so heavy. And I was like, I have no idea how to do this otherwise. So yeah, that was pretty terrible. That was pretty terrible.
Oh man, and they say acting drunk is probably one of the hardest things you can do.
Well, the thing is, I'd already done it. I had done it already in rocket science.
That's true. That's true.
So I don't know what I was thinking.
You should have just sent them that scene and said, "Here's your drunk acting."
I think the thing was that because I was always working with someone, like I was either working with my mom who's coaching me, or I was working with a coach.
Mm-hmm.
I really needed to figure out how to, because sometimes you don't have that luxury. You're staying in a hotel by yourself. Someone sent, they're like, you gotta put this thing on tape tomorrow.
Right.
It's like, okay, well, I have to prepare. Like, how do I do that? So that's actually what I've been doing over the past 5 years since I moved back here. I came back from LA, and I've been, and I did some great projects while I was living there too. Like that's what I did, Perks, and I actually moved back here like right after Perks, and then I was teaching myself how to write as well.
Mm-hmm.
I was learning that, and then I started training a little bit more and like learning new techniques, and but I basically started like developing my own thing because I would go to these classes, and a lot of the classes, and it's the same thing with writing. You write as well, right? I listened to a couple of your podcasts.
Yeah, I do some writing.
Yeah, and I don't know if you've read a lot of writing books, but a lot of them say the same thing, just different words, different points of view. But a lot of it is like, same basic stuff,
right?
Which is always good to like refresh your memory about that stuff. But so I learned just from going to acting classes, like, okay, these are things that I need to focus on. These are things that I don't do that I need in my life, like voice work.
Mm-hmm.
I never worked on my voice before. Relaxation was something that I needed to focus on. I need to find my own way of doing it. And just like memorization too. Like I never really worked on, I think also because like you're saying how things come easy to you as a kid, memorization was always easy for me. And then it gets a little bit harder as you get older.
Right.
Because now I've memorized so many different scripts and sides over the years that, how do you keep them all straight in your head?
Right.
So I just started doing that, and so now I write out all my sides, and I actually I got this amazing opportunity last year. And I always joke around and tell people that I was Sigourney Weaver's acting coach. But what happened was my friend was in town who produced a movie that I did called Bloodworth with Chris Christopherson, Val Kilmer, Hilary Duff, and Dwight Yoakam.
Yeah.
And so he was up in Vancouver producing another movie with Sigourney in it, and he comes and shoots a lot of stuff up here actually, so we always hang out when he's up here. And he was like, "Oh, Sigourney needs someone to run lines with her. Do you want to do it?" I was like, "Yeah, absolutely." So she gave me like $70 an hour, which I was like, "You really don't have to pay me because I'm probably going to get a lot more out of this than you are."
Right.
Which I did, and she was doing Alexander technique.
Okay, yeah.
Which is like a breath and body work type thing. And she would handwrite all her lines out too. So I was like, oh, okay, cool. I'm doing that right. And then I found out she was doing Alexander technique. So I started to kind of like research that and get into that. And then I ended up talking to a guy who had studied Alexander technique in school. And he was like, I just float now. I go to those float tank things.
Okay. Yeah.
Float. So that's what I do now.
Okay.
So I try and go once a week, and it's been hectic the past little week just because of the holidays and a bunch of other stuff that's been going on. But
Right.
yeah, so I try and go and do that, and I do more yoga and stuff like that, and I try and get a massage once a month too, because that was the other thing. Sigourney was always getting massages after every time we met up to deliver to work on lines and stuff.
Uh-huh.
She'd be like, "Oh, I'm gonna go get a massage now," and I was like, "Oh, okay, interesting."
Yeah, and just it'd be funny if she got a massage after every take. It's like Sigourney, come on, we gotta keep going. Nope, need a massage.
I think she might, and don't quote me on this, but I think she might get a massage every day after shooting.
Gotcha.
Because a lot of those relaxation techniques, which is a lot about massaging your body, like Fitzmaurice, which I took a class in, is you have these balls and you massage your body with them. Like they're like these hard, one sits on the ground and then they have like these spike balls that you use on your head and you can use on your body and stuff like that.
Mm-hmm.
And there's one big ball and you roll your body on it and it feels amazing. You're massaging yourself, right?
Mm-hmm.
But I find going to a professional is just it makes a world of difference.
Right.
Because they can feel your shoulders and realize that you're tense in your, lower glute or whatever. And then and you know what I mean? Like they know the human body so well, much better than I could ever understand it. Unless I became a masseuse.
Right.
Which maybe if I play a role one day where I have to be a masseuse.
There we go. So anybody looking for a masseuse.
Yeah, just write a role for me.
See, I can't do massages because I tense up when somebody like tries to massage my back. It's not comfortable for me.
Right.
It's painful, and it's just something I've never liked. That, and I'm pretty ticklish. So it's like, oh no, please stop. You're hurting me. Stop. I'm not comfortable. But
right. Well, I mean, that's the whole point of it.
Right. No, it does not work for me. So
right. But you have to push through that. You have to push that uncomfortability, and that's what I have to do. You don't have to do that. So you don't have to get a massage.
Don't tell me what to do, Reece.
I won't. I swear.
I just wanted.
Sigourney says it's good, so.
I guess she knows what she's talking about.
Told you would do it.
You know what? You're so right. All right.
Yeah.
Fine.
But yeah, no, that's been huge. That's made a big difference. Just in my life too.
Nice. Yes.
I'm like way less stressed out in general. I don't think I realized how stressed out I was until I started taking the time to relax.
Right.
And like fully relax. The first time I floated too, and this is what I hear from a lot of people who go and do it, is they're like, it hurt my neck. And the first time I went, it did hurt my neck.
Uh-huh.
And I realized it was because I was holding my neck in a certain way. And your float, I don't know if do you know much about those things?
I don't. I was going to ask you, like, it's okay. So you get into this tank. Is it completely silent? Or what?
Yes. So you actually put your plugs in because it's 10 inches of water and 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts, and you totally float. Like you don't have to use any muscles, right?
Right.
Which I think is where the pain in the neck comes from, because people aren't used to just like letting their necks go.
Right.
And that the first time I went, it was quite painful for me while I was in there, And then the whole time I was focusing on relaxing and my breath and stuff like that. And then eventually I let go. But the thing is that there's so much magnesium in the water, in the salt as well, which is really, really good for you. So even just the benefits of the magnesium that you're getting is worth it. I obviously have my own reasons for going, but my mom's super into health stuff, and she's always telling me how she's like, it's great, you're getting all this magnesium. I'm like, oh, that is great, but that's not,
that's why I go, Mom. Magnesium.
It's just like an extra, plus, right?
Yeah.
But anyway, yeah. So it's 10 inches of water, 1,000 pounds of Epsom salts. You totally float in there, and you have to put these earplugs in because there's so much salt in the water that if you get it in your ear, which I did like the second or third time I went, you'll be picking salt out of your ear for a week.
Yeah.
Which is not the best. And you don't want to get it in your eyes either because it burns.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
That makes sense. There is, I don't know where this room is. I think it's in Florida somewhere, but where it's, or maybe it's overseas, no idea, but it's the most quietest room you've ever been in. And what people try to do is they go in there and see how long they can last in this room before they go crazy, because you can literally hear everything that your body is doing. And,
wow.
It's, for some people, it's very intense. And it's something that I would be very interested in doing, just because part of me wants to see what I will hear, and B, how long I would last in there.
Well, that's what's crazy about the floating too, is that you lose all concept of time.
Right.
So because it's pitch black in there.
Yeah.
And there's no sound. The temperature of the water and the air is supposed to be tuned to the temperature of your body.
Okay.
So you really don't feel much. Like if in the ideal tank, you should not feel the water at all. But yeah, you lose all concept of time, and so sometimes you'll be like, I've been in here for, a really long time, because it's usually an hour and a half that you're in there. I've been in here for a long time, and then time keeps going, and you're like, oh my God, like, how much longer do I have? Maybe I was only in here for 30 minutes. It felt like I was in here for an hour, and there was only half an hour left. But now I feel like a half an hour has gone by, and like, but that's what it's good for too, is like, you're supposed to not think about that stuff.
Right.
You know, it's like, I tell people, especially my friends who are into meditation and stuff like that, it's like the shortcut to meditation. Because I've always had issues with meditation.
Right.
Just like clearing my head and stuff. But this is like the shortcut to all of that. And now I actually find meditation a lot easier to do.
I have a problem with meditation just because it's like, okay, now clear your mind. Okay, I'm clearing my mind because this thing told me to clear my mind. Oh, I'm thinking about this. Well, let me clear my. I'm trying to take it all in, but I'm not really.
Right. That's the struggle. That's why it's good, right? That's the it's, you have to think of it as like an exercise almost, and you're exercising those muscles in your brain of like cleaning out those things. And they actually say that it helps rebuild, the brain cells that we've killed from like drinking and stuff.
There we go. All right.
Yeah.
All right. There we go. Everyone meditate now.
I think everybody should. I mean, I think it's good for you. The people I know who do meditate seem a lot more. I mean, I'm just getting into it, so I'm not like an expert by any means. But my friends who do meditate regularly, they seem to have a lot less stress in their life, and they have just as much going on as everybody else, but they just seem much more relaxed, and they're just like easier to be around. They're much more positive people, and it's just good for you, I think.
Yeah, there you go.
I think that if all these Buddhist monks and everybody's been telling us for a long time to do it, it can't be that bad.
Right. Yeah, exactly. Exactly.
They seem pretty chill.
Look, try it a couple times. If you don't like it, okay.
Yeah.
But just try it.
Yeah.
Reece, for the people at home who would like to be in touch with you or keep up with the work that you do, where can they do that?
I'm on I'm on Twitter and I'm on Instagram. I'm not the best poster, but I'm trying to get better.
Mm-hmm.
So so I'm on there. And where else am I? Yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, I have a Facebook, but that's more of like a private thing. So.
Right. And you go to any floating tub and you'll be there.
No, I have my spot.
Oh, okay.
I got my spot to go to.
Yeah, no, don't tell people your spot.
Yeah. But then not that like so many people would show up, but the guys who run it would probably be pretty happy about it. And I have a movie that I'm about to do in the spring. I'm actually coming down to Texas, where you are.
Oh, nice. What part?
I'm not sure yet, actually. I just know that we're going to Texas so far.
Okay.
But yeah, we're doing this country music road trip movie where the widow of a country music legend goes back to Kentucky to connect with her husband's long-lost illegitimate son from a high school relationship, and then I play the son's uncle. So I play the younger brother of the country music star who passed away, and then we all go on tour together. So I'm learning drums right now.
Oh, nice. Okay.
And I'm trying to get that accent down.
Gotcha. Yeah. Nice. Not only do I live in Texas, I'm a drummer. So good
Oh,
luck.
No way. Okay, yeah, thanks. No, it's been going good. I'm loving it.
Just walk the dog. That's all you need to do. Just walk the dog and listen to the bass player.
Right. Okay. All right. Good to know. I don't know what walk the dog means. What does that mean?
Walk the dog is snare hits on 2 and 4 and bass drum on 1 and 3.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's what they called it in high school. Was you're just walking the dog, just go on autopilot. There you go.
Yeah, I find that that's one thing I really like about drums is that you can really get like lost in it.
Right.
I played guitar for years and it's not the same. Like drums and bass, I feel like you can really get, but maybe that's just because I'm not very good at guitar.
No, it's because I did jazz band for a long time, and my teacher would always say, "Okay, you and the bass player are going to be best friends." I'm like, I don't know what you're talking about. I'm my own friend. I don't need a bass player as a friend.
Right.
But when you start getting into a groove, the bassist does become your biggest ally, just as far as timekeeping, because that's another thing. Drummers have a hard time keeping time. So yeah, just listen to the bass player.
Okay, that's good to know.
There you go.
Well, maybe when we're down in Texas, we can jam. We can all jam together.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, keep in touch, and whenever you want to come on back, just let me know. All right, man?
Yeah, for sure.
All right. And once again, thank you for coming on. It was a real pleasure to have you on.
Thank you so much. Thanks for asking. It was it was really nice. Very relaxed environment.
Thank you. I'm floating right now. That's why.
I'm floating right now too.
You have a good one. All right, man.
Yeah, you too. All right, bye.
Bye.